my best friend Daniel, had been in my life since high school. We survived college together, celebrated promotions, shared our secrets, and even stood by each other at our weddings. To me, he wasn't just a friend, he was a brother. And then there was Emily, my wife of 8 years. She was my anchor, the woman I once believed God had sculpted just for me. I introduced her to Daniel, thinking it would make our little circle even stronger. She laughed at his jokes, and he admired her kindness. It never seemed strange. After all, friends often blended into family. We went on vacations together, spent weekends playing cards in our living room, and built memories I thought I'd cherish forever. I never imagined that while I was cherishing those moments, they were weaving a secret of their own. It started small. I noticed Emily smiling at her phone late at night, typing fast and tucking away when I entered the room. She said it was work emails. I wanted to believe her. Daniel became harder to reach. He canceled plans more often, offering vague excuses. I brushed it off, people get busy. But something in my gut stirred uneasily, and no matter how much I tried to silence it, the feeling grew louder. One evening, after Emily went to bed early, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at the screen, and my heart stopped. It was a message from Daniel. Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? The world tilted beneath me. My hands shook as I scrolled through their thread of messages. Weeks, months of hidden passion, secret meetings, declarations they never whispered to me. My wife, my best friend, the two people I trusted most, had betrayed me in the most unforgivable way. I didn't confront them immediately. For days, I carried the secret like poison in my veins, watching them laugh in front of me, watching Daniel clap my back as if nothing had happened. Finally, I devised a plan. I invited Daniel and Emily to dinner at our house, a normal Friday gathering, just like old times. Emily cooked, Daniel brought wine, and for a while, the laughter almost convinced me this was all a bad dream. But then I pulled out my phone and connected it to the TV. Their messages lit up the screen. The room went silent. Emily's face drained of color. Daniel's jaw tightened. My voice trembled, but my anger burned steady. Tell me, how long have you been lying to me? How long have you two been sneaking behind my back while pretending to care about me? Emily burst into tears, stammering apologies. Daniel tried to speak, but I silenced him with a look that could cut glass. The man I had called a brother had destroyed everything. That night ended with shattered glass, broken promises, and the sound of a marriage collapsing. Emily left with her suitcase. Daniel disappeared from my life without a word. In the weeks that followed, the silence in my house felt heavier than the betrayal itself. I replayed every memory, questioning what was real and what had been a lie. Friends told me to move on, that I was better off without them. But how do you move on from a betrayal that cuts through both love and friendship? How do you trust again when the people closest to you taught you the sharpest lessons in deceit? It took months, years, even for me to begin healing. I learned to sit with the pain, to stop searching for answers in places where truth had long since died. I realized something powerful. Betrayal doesn't define me. Their actions reflected their weakness, not mine. And though my heart still carries scars, I found strength in rebuilding myself in the ashes of what they destroyed. But one truth remains etched in my soul. Trust, once broken by the hands of those you love most, never returns the same. Broken heart, a best friend. A wife, one secret affair. A heartbreaking betrayal I'll never forget. The morning after the confrontation, I woke to an empty bed. Emily's side was cold, and the house echoed with silence so sharp it pierced me deeper than any argument could. I walked into the living room, the wine glasses from the night before still on the table, the TV black, but I could still see the words that had been on the screen. Every message burned into my memory. Daniel didn't call. He didn't text. The man who had once been first to show up in my life during hardships now vanished like a coward running from the wreckage he helped create. Emily, however, sent me a long message later that day. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. It just happened. I didn't mean to fall for him, but I did. Please don't hate me. Her words weren't an apology. They were an excuse. News spread fast in our circle. Friends who had seen us as a perfect trio now avoided choosing sides, but I could see it in their eyes. They pitied me. They whispered when I wasn't around, as though betrayal was a contagious disease. One evening, my younger sister visited. She hugged me tight and said softly, "You didn't deserve this. Don't let their choices define your worth." It was the first time I realized I wasn't just mourning a marriage or a friendship. I was mourning the version of myself that had believed in forever, the unexpected encounter. Weeks later, while running errands, I saw them together. Emily and Daniel, hand in hand, walking down the street as if they hadn't detonated my life. When Emily's eyes met mine, she froze. Daniel shifted uncomfortably, his face a mask of shame. My blood boiled, but instead of yelling, instead of breaking down, I simply stared at them. The silence between us was louder than any scream. Finally, I said, "You two deserve each other." I walked away. My legs trembled, but my spirit felt strangely lighter. Divorce papers were signed soon after. It was quick, clinical, a cold legal process for what had been a love story once warm and alive. As for Daniel, he never reached out, not even a half-hearted apology. I realized that cowards don't face the people they've wronged. They hide and hope time buries their sins. But time doesn't erase betrayal. It carves it into you like stone. It took me months to find peace in small things again. The sound of rain on my windows, the quiet mornings with coffee, the feeling of running until my lungs burned. I went to therapy. I wrote my pain down in journals. I learned how to be alone without being lonely. Slowly, I realized that betrayal hadn't destroyed me. It had revealed the strength I didn't know I had. Sometimes, late at night, I think back on Daniel and Emily. I wonder if they're happy, or if guilt sits between them like a ghost at every meal. But then I remind myself, their story is no longer mine. What is mine is the lesson I carry. That even when the two people you trusted most carve scars into your soul, you can rise, you can heal, you can rebuild a life stronger than the one they tried to break. Broken heart betrayal isn't the end. It's the painful beginning of rediscovering who you are without the ones who lied to you.